Acquisitions expert. When there's a battlefield, target opponent reveals a number of cards from your hand equal to the number of creatures in your party. Yeah, this card's great. You would always play it. Like a super Ravenous Rats, right? There's also a rogue. Like you just play it on turn 2 with Ravenous Rats, that's a 1-2. Lechi's Thirst, destroy target creature or planeswalker with commander cost 2 or less. If this card's kicked, yeah. Destroy target creature, yeah, you must always play this. When Demon's Disciple enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. This is a card you would probably always play. Especially if you have like the Raised Dead in your deck. The double Raised Dead that cost the common Blood Beckoning. These type of effects are typically quite good in sealed. So it wouldn't surprise me if this card is also quite good in sealed. This was an uncommon in the past. It was a 3/2, and if they didn't have a Plague Bearer is what I forget what it was called. It was a 2 and a black 3/2 that like makes each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, and if they can't, they discard a card. And so like there was a strictly better version of this in previous sets. And that card was pretty good. Like Crafter, yeah. Obviously this one is 1 fewer health, but the creature type might matter. Lithiform Blight. Enters the battlefield, draw a card. Channel Land loses all types and abilities and has... you would probably almost never play this. Like if you're splashing, you would this would just be... Like if you're black-red splashing green, you would just play Forest over this. When enters the battlefield, attach it to your target creature you control. Chain creature is +1/+0. It gets +3/+1 instead. As long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. Assuming if you have like 2 or 3 cards that like mill your opponent, you would always play this. I think if you don't have any way to mill your opponent, you don't play this card. Because I think realistically, for your opponent to have 8 cards in your graveyard, is not going to have it until turn 10. Of them just like doing things naturally. You'd rather just play you would rather just play like a 5-mana 4/4 instead of this. So I'm just going to say no to this. Sign on the Swarm. Whenever you gain life, put a counter on this. Sure, 5-mana. It's all you would. I mean, I guess if you even if you have no ways to gain life, which I think is incredibly doubtful, you might still play this card. There's just a 5-mana 3/3 flyer with a relevant creature type. I find it hard to believe that you have no way to gain life in your deck. Shadow Stinger. Tap it on untapped rogue control against Death Touch. You just come out damage to a player that mills 3 cards. I'm on board. This actually like kills them so fast, actually. It hits like a 3/4. This card's great. The stat line is great. The abilities are great. This card's great. Skyclave Shadowcat. Whenever you sack another creature, put a counter on Skyclave Shadowcat. Whenever another creature controls the +1 counter dies, draw a card. I can imagine not playing this. I think this is... Yeah, the fact that it's not a party kind of sucks. And I'm not impressed by any cards I've seen so far that have to deal with +1 counters. I think it's probably only playable in green-black and like unplayable otherwise. If this was a rogue, if this was a party creature type, I think you would almost always play this. The fact that it's not a party member is just kind of medium. Triggers on itself. It only triggers on itself if you sacked a creature, right? And that's only if they didn't kill it in response to you sacking a creature. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. Return target creature card and up to 1. Okay, so it puts them into play. This is like 5 mana, draw 2 spells, gain 8 mana. This is a constructed quality card. Yeah. This is a wowzer. Yeah, you just always play this. You can't splash it, but this is a big... Wow. And it's kind of insane because in this set, there's a lot of, like, your opponent's gonna be milling you, right? That's super dangerous if your opponent has this card in their deck. This is a card you would bring a negate for. Yeah, this is a card you're just gonna, like, your opponent's gonna have it, and you're like, yeah, there's nothing I could have done, I just lose. That's cool. I'm glad to see an uncommon bomb for black. It's the only bomb I've seen for black. Other colors had insano uncommons, right? Blue and white. And black has nothing. Like, Shadow Stinger is, like, good, but it's not, like, insane. But this is the first, like, actually, like, yeah, okay. This is what I'm looking for. Like, this is a power uncommon. Each opponent loses 4 life and you gain 4 life. You play it? Probably. You would play this over... You would take out a land for it, though. You would not just play this card expecting to cast it. I think you'd probably cast this a quarter of your games, maybe less. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an on-land, a card from it with a commander cost 3 or greater. The other player discards that card. Yeah, this card's great. Always play it. But this is the type of card I would actually not take out a land for. I think there's actually kind of like a interesting thing. Like Zoff Consumption, you would cut a land. You would cut a swamp for this, right? This is a card you would not cut a swamp for. This is a card you would actually expect to play a vast majority of the time on turn 3 or turn 4 or whatever. So you would play 17 lands, like 17 cards you would consider lands and this. So this would be your 18th mana source, not your 17th. Malakir Rebirth, 2-star creature, you lose 2 life until end of turn. That creature return the benefit tapped under its owner's control. You would probably, I think you would always play this, and you would probably take out a lane for this, take out a swamp for this. You're gonna play this a lot of the time. I would say you probably play this maybe a third of the time. 3 mana, 2/3 menace. You would play this card with no other text box. When it gets plus 3/0, as long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, yeah, you would just always play this. Stat line is great. Abilities are great. You would just straight up play a 3 mana, 2/3 menace. So the fact that it can randomly get plus 3/0 and it can be a land. It has 2 other abilities, and including being a 3 mana, 2/3 menace. So. But what's really worrying about black is that outside of Thwart the Grave, their cards are all very not great. Like, they're just straight mediums across the board. Like, Demon's Disciple is just like, whatever. Acquisitions Expert is like, it's whatever. Just like a Terminate. Shadow Singer, I guess, is not. Shadow Singer's pretty insane. This card hits super freaking hard, and it enables other cards. Yeah, there's lots of playables if you just happen to be black, but outside of Thwart the Grave, there's no reason to be black. Which is kind of worrying. Because the commons, there wasn't a reason to be black in commons either. So it's looking like black is relegated to a support color. Because I've not seen a reason to be black.